Let's talk about a recent discovery that has me excited for MLB The Show 24. This comes courtesy of a Reddit post from user HerbieVerStinks, who said, "Can someone explain how this creative player of Kelsey Whitmore has her exact left arm tattoo?" Now, the player model is not exactly true to form, as you can tell by the facial features, but it is curious that this user found not only an arm tattoo, but an exact arm tattoo that Kelsey Whitmore has. Historically, MLB The Show player models don't have any tattoos below the face. If you look at their arms with such players as Byron Buxton, Salvador Perez, or even cover athletes like Javier Baez, everything kind of ends from the neck downward. The only players that tend to have tattoos on their player models are those with face tattoos that are captured in the face scan, a prime example being Prince Fielder or Yadier Molina. And even if this is a created roster or created player that was uploaded to the player vault, there's no way that you can mod that into the game and add some tattoos. There was another Reddit user named Punnel Dearson who was able to replicate the same thing. As you can see here from the side, there is the full extent of the tattoo, and the Reddit user was able to test this just by renaming the player to Kelsey Whitmore. The user also mentioned in past editions of MLB The Show, you could re-enter players' names to get people like Shelfie or Fuzzy back when they had MLB creators in the game. Their face model would then replace the player that had been renamed. So I tried to recreate this present day, seeing as the post was made about 3 weeks ago, and didn't have any success on my end. However, this could have been very well patched in the last 3 weeks, as there have been a few gameplay updates. And to reiterate, this is an important finding because there are a lot of premier MLB players that don't have their full arm sleeve tattoos or anything other than their face in the game. So why would SDS go to all the trouble of implementing these full scans for a player who hasn't made it past the Atlantic League? I think the answer is pretty obvious. Other sports league titles have added women to their games over the last few years, such as the WNBA being added to NBA 2K20 and women's hockey players being added to EA's NHL 22. We've also seen a good initiative by San Diego Studios to add other historical leagues and players into their game, such as the Negro Leagues edition this last year with Storylines. Storylines is very important because it added players as well as people who were important to the Negro Leagues. Satchel Paige was just as important as Rube Foster. And there are a lot of women in the MLB space who are making some headlines. Aside from Kelsey Whitmore, there's also Alyssa Nakken, who's an assistant coach for the San Francisco Giants. Over the past few years, she's been a first base coach and a bench coach, and she was also interviewed for the recent Giants managerial job before Bob Melvin was hired. I don't think it's too far-fetched to see Storylines not only add more Negro Leagues players in a Chapter 2, such as Josh Gibson or Cool Papa Bell, but there might also be some storylines or other historical context for women in baseball. We've also seen recent collaborations with the World Baseball Classic, so there might be some more international players that are added into the game, or we might see some players in the softball space added to the game. There are a lot of cool stories to tell in the baseball community, and that doesn't just stop at Major League Baseball players. There's plenty of opportunities to enrich and educate the community with some of the stories of Negro Leagues players, women in baseball, players who don't play inside the United States or Canada. For those of you who are still on the fence, here's a few other thoughts on the matter. First, for Kelsey Whitmore, I did double check and she's not on the Real 99 player list, so it wasn't like a player scan was made specifically for that. This year, we also saw the addition of the face scan feature, which if you scanned your face, it would take a photo of you and upload your avatar into the game as a Road to the Show player. I think MLB The Show 23 might be the building block that jettisons everything into this next generation. We had the first edition of Storylines, which will be expanded upon and improved. The face scan feature will also likely be improved, and this year was also to work out some of the bugs along with that, so it could feature both male and female players. And the community will likely agree that MLB The Show 24 is due for some graphical improvements. We haven't really seen those next-gen graphics on the PS5 or Xbox One, and this might be indicative that San Diego Studio is ready to make that push for MLB The Show 24. There might be more than just face scans where more tattoos are added on the arms or other features. There's a lot that could be done, and I think MLB The Show at some point will have to make that leap into the future graphically. It could be this year for all we know, where the PS4 and the old Xbox and Switch versions are left behind, but it remains to be seen. In any case, if this all is still just speculation, I do welcome the day that MLB The Show will continue to expand and include more players, more historical figures, beyond just Major League Baseball or the Negro Leagues. I do think an addition featuring women in the sport, or softball in addition to baseball, would be a very welcome change. Baseball is for everyone, and I think MLB is unique because it has such a historical lens through history and over time. where an addition like this would really grow the game of baseball even further. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments section. If you think that there's anything that I might have missed, or if you had any other comments about this video, leave them down below. But it's getting to that stage where MLB The Show 23 is turning into speculation for MLB The Show 24. If there's any other features that you'd like to see added over these next few months, let us know, and we'd be happy to make a video about some other subjects in future videos. This is Kasabi signing off. We'll see you next time.